Hello, so it's May the 7th 2020 and I'm going to start dating my videos from now on, because otherwise in 5 years time people might not realise that I'm actually talking about what's going on now and not at some other point in the future. And what I want to talk to you about today is the future of cities. What is the future of cities? And this is something I've been thinking about off and on for many years, but COVID-19 has really brought it to the fore, and that's why I want to talk to you about it today. Now, many are already describing 2020 as one of those turning point years, perhaps like 1066 or 1815 or 1945, years after which the way we operate really did change. And maybe change is gradual, and even something like COVID, which was so sudden, has in many ways just accelerated things that were already happening. Anyway, cities. Now, ever since cities have existed, people have been migrating to them. But could COVID mark the beginning of the great deurbanization, the point at which people stop coming to cities and start leaving them? And the answer to that all depends on how we cope with the virus. Will a cure or a vaccine be found? Will that cure or vaccine be enough to satisfy people's concerns about infection and safety? And if the answer to that is no, if not, we are going into a very different world. If COVID remains a thing, and I'm not sure it will, but if it does, people won't want to sit or stand on crowded trains in the morning. They won't want to eat in crowded restaurants or laugh in crowded comedy clubs. If social distancing, even by only 1 metre, becomes the norm, then fewer people will be allowed into restaurants, into bars, into comedy clubs, into theatres, concert halls, sports arenas and so on. And with fewer people attending, the price of these things will go up and the quality of the experience will come down. Crowds are essential to most entertainment, whether it's sport or theatre or comedy. They intensify the experience. Sparsely populated rooms, they have nothing like the same atmosphere. Think of a football stadium or a comedy club. We always tell promoters, put the chairs close together, sit people close together, because laughter's a herd thing. It's infectious, and you distance people and they don't laugh as much. But crowds are an essential feature of a city, and we might moan about them. I can't stand crowds. Who likes crowds? Unless they're paying to see me, and then I rather like them. But they're part and parcel of living in a vibrant city, whether it's on public transport, on the streets, in places where people gather, it doesn't matter. Now, in a COVID world, the one thing you don't want is crowds. Now, it still amazes me just how desirable a place London became in the lead up to 2020. And I'm not just talking about the last couple of years, but over the entire course of my life, I was born in 1969, so let's say from the 1970s onwards, everyone seemed to want to come to London, whether it's the glitterati or the illegal migrant. And why? You can't help asking yourself that. Why? It's so crowded, it's so expensive, it's so dirty, it's full of crime, of anger. Nobody smiles, nobody says hello, everybody's miserable. It's impossible to enjoy a decent standard of living unless you're sort of halfway to becoming a billionaire. And yet, people kept coming. And this isn't just London, but it's every booming city. New York, LA, Tokyo, Shanghai. And, as in the Industrial Revolution, but only more so, so many people seem to move from rural and suburban areas to urban. And we dream of rural idyls. We talk about rural idyls, but actions speak louder than words, and we live in cities. But eventually, there's a saturation point. The accommodation's too expensive, the day-to-day living standards are too grimy, and people begin choosing other options. And you sort of thought we were reaching that point in 2018, 2019, 2020. But I've been saying that for yonks, and yet people still keep coming. Now, why do people want to live in London? And they come here, people come to London for the same reason Dick Whittington did in 1370 or whenever it was. People come to London to seek their fortune, to find work, to find friendship, to find love. But tech is obviating many of the needs that we have to be in cities. It's so many of the reasons to be in cities redundant. So many of what's made cities desirable, the services, the sociability, the sophistication, so much of that can be provided by the internet. You don't need to be in London to work. You can come in for essential meetings, but much of your work, whether it's talking, trading, thinking, deciding, can all be done remotely. And this has been proved by COVID. And so that doesn't bode very well for large office blocks. You don't need to be in London for entertainment. Already you can watch movies in your house, you can watch sport in your house, you can play games online, you can laugh at comedy, as I said before, comedy's going online. Live online pub quizzes have recently taken off. I'm attending a 50th birthday party this Friday night with an old school friend on Zoom. And, you know, many of the nice restaurants, the craft beer bars, all these things, they're, you know, the posh stuff, not just the cheaper, but they're now delivering. Shopping, it's been online for yonks. And, you know, basic consultations with GPs are now being conducted remotely. That's now the norm. Therapy, counselling, the holding your hands kind of things, AA meetings, all being held online. Education, it's getting a much needed kick up the backside to move it into the 21st century. But so much of what we learn at school or university can be done online and remotely. Why do children need to be in classes with 20 or 30 other children born between September and August with one teacher at the front? There are just other ways to learn, and this COVID is forcing these new ways on people. Now, self-driving cars, if and when they come, using the Internet of Things to communicate with other vehicles, with traffic lights so that they're all green at the right time, navigation systems, all these promise much quicker, cheaper, crowd-free travel. Self-driving cars, there's no crowd. And they'll make migration away from cities all the more practical. And then we come to love. Dating apps. How long have they been the new norm? You don't need to go to bars anymore if you want to meet someone. Algorithms understand you better than you do yourself. They'll find partners for you. They already are. People are already going on virtual dates, drinking wine together, talking, vetting each other. And even sex itself is going online. I know it sounds bizarre, but casual hookups, one-night stands and so on in a COVID world, rather less desirable. But we've got sexting, video sex, cam sex. I narrated a documentary last week in my new home studio, look at these acoustic panels, about robots. Robot sex dolls are a thing, apparently. Holographic pornography soon will be. What's the future going to be for the oldest profession? Surely that too is heading online. So sex is going online, and it's going to get a lot cleaner. If fewer and fewer office workers are in cities, what about those who serve them coffee in the morning on their way to work, or clean their offices after they left? The waiters, the cleaners, the drivers, all these kind of people. Many of these guys, they live in crowded dormitories trying to save money. What's their future in this new world of empty cities? If there's no work for them, they'll go elsewhere. You know, if COVID really is here to stay, city centres could become ghost towns. We might even see the return of squatting in houses. It takes us back to the 70s. People won't want to travel to other cities unless they really want to or have to. And with fewer people travelling, the cost of travel, from plane tickets to hotel rooms, is all going to increase. Staycations, where people stay at home for their holidays and take time off to read, to relax, to pamper themselves. These will become more of a thing, and businesses that cater to this will surely grow. Maybe tourism, you know, the tourism industry will all be staying at home. People will want to travel to open spaces, to woods, moors, mountains, beaches, parks. In a world in which the day-to-day risk of infection is high, in which people don't want crowds, we will see a turnaround in the fate of cities, a mass exodus to the cheaper, more spacious lifestyle of the country. It all depends, of course, on how COVID develops. But how do you invest in all of this? Surely all roads lead to tech. And the simplest way to get exposure to tech is via the NASDAQ, for which, where Google and so on are listed. And if you're a UK investor, you can buy the NASDAQ ETF LSE EQQQ. Now, the counter-argument, of course, is that people have been moving to cities since the very first ones were built in ancient Mesopotamia. So this might just be a temporary blip. People like social contact. As I say, it all depends on how quickly Corona is quashed. But if Corona is quickly quashed, many of the new norms it has created, the things we've got used to over the last couple of months, will continue after the virus has passed. And thus it is hard to see how you go wrong with tech. Thank you very much for watching my video. Please subscribe to my channel, share this program with a friend, and I'll be back with another program just as soon as I can think of something to talk about. Thank you.